Good morning, everyone. Um, I don't know if y'all can hear my dog barking in the background. Um, this is Travis from Carter Cow Capital, helping you fight for your financial freedom throughout the forex market. This is another episode 272 of Trade with Travis. Hope everybody's doing very well. As we go through and take a look at the pairs and look at what happened post interest rate decision, post FOMC, and everything else like that, we will go ahead and take a look at and evaluate what's going on with the trading day. And then after that, see if there's any other type of activity. But while we go through this, let me know how you end up doing in trading yesterday. Did you have a green day, red day, stay away, whatever may be the case? Let me know as we go through and get everything else situated. But let's go ahead and get started with the disclaimer. I'm not a CTA, so I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or to sell. What I'm going to do is teach you education, and from the education, you can be able to make your own informed decision. Now, understand that trading involves risk. It involves risk of being able to make money, also involves risk of being able to lose money. So please keep that in mind. You understand that past performance is not indicative of future results, which means that if you end up making, yeah, um, which means that if you did not make money yesterday, it's not promised that you can end up making money today. So with that being said, as we go through and kind of take a look at everything, obviously, here's my non-negotiable rules. I end up talking about this a lot. Haven't talked about it as much because the way of trading that we have been doing, but typically, I love being able to take a look at trending markets. I love being able to find time frame alignment. Time frame alignment is still a non-negotiable rule as we go through. We look for overbought and oversold signals from the stochastic to be able to match up with some of the stuff that we're looking at. And then after that, we always want to be able to find a catalyst. That catalyst may end up being a counter trend line break or some type of economic news that kind of matches up with it. And we always want to make sure we end up having strong equity management. Our equity management scheme is always being able to have a risk reward factor of 1 to 2.3, meaning that for every $100 that you're risking, you're making at least $230 when it comes down to the reward. So as we go through, if that makes sense, type in a Y or a yes. For the people that are watching live, let me know if my sound is good. And we will go ahead and go forward when it comes down to that. All right, so take a look at the economic calendar. Let's talk about what ended up happening yesterday, and then after that, talk about how that is affecting what's going to happen with the overall market. Interest rate decisions now have been pushed up to 5%. This is the highest that the market has been, uh, literally in the last 2.5 years. Actually, we can count it a little bit higher than that, but it was expected. Literally we went from 2.25 basis points at the beginning of the year all the way up to 5. Well, what they're trying to do is be able to get a stronghold back on the dollar, trying to make sure everything else is good. We're faltering in some areas, but when you see those numbers, we can see that the first year was 4.3, second year was 3.1, second year and current is 5.1, and then after that, the long-term projection is being able to kind of wane off of it and go back down to 2.5. But with that expectation and everything else like that, it really rocked the market on how the market kind of moves. So we're going to talk about that plus more, obviously, as we go through this. Let's take a look at the United States dollar index first. Um, Remember, at the beginning of the morning yesterday, my thought process was that I was not going to end up looking at being able to trade. I was going to end up waiting until 15 minutes after the news ended up coming out to be able to make my full decision on what I wanted to do. The reason being was because you take a look at what's happening on a weekly and a daily, there was some disparity on how the market was actually being treated overall. From a weekly perspective, we were seeing that the market was being bearish, and from a daily perspective, we've seen that the market was basically showing that it had signs of being bullish. And because of that issue, I ended up saying, you know what, I'm just going to wait and kind of see. So we can see that from a weekly perspective, we are in the sell zone, right? From a stochastic perspective, and we're breaking out of this consolidation, and more importantly, we're breaking out of this inner trend line. From there, we can see the market kind of reacting based off of that movement. Now, it's kind of funny because when I look at this from a weekly perspective, this purple line is typically below this pricing right here. There it is right there, what we're talking about. The market kind of bounced from that purple line. We can see that it retraced. Essentially, this purple line has been basically the trend line that the market has been moving on. I still think that the market is probably going to end up moving down just a little bit more before it's being bearish. But overall, the question is, when are we going to end up having to move to the upside, or are we going to continue being bearish overall when it comes down to that movement? But it was a pretty strong move overall going into what happened today. The total range was 900 points. Typically, we've been taking a look at most days. We haven't necessarily seen that big of a push throughout the overall day, but the move was mainly to the downside and it was somewhat negative. So The weekly is showing that it's bearish. Daily was showing that it's bullish. We end up having a counter trend line break push, and then after that, we had that strong bearish move to the downside. So you continue to be able to play or continue to be able to trade bearish based off of that retest of this movement. And then congratulations, that was the move. Me personally, like I ended up saying, I decided to be able to stay away because I wanted to be able to ensure on what the direction was going to be before actually being able to make a trade. So me personally, I did not take a trade yesterday on this movement. Caught it too late when it came down to try to sales. Oil has been in consolidation from 82.50 and $70 a barrel. Market broke below $63 a barrel. We ended up taking profit when the market ended up making that sell trade over there based off of this trade. We didn't get our full take profit, but we ended up getting a good bit when it came down to that movement. And then after that, what we end up seeing was the market end up retracing. Now, remember, anytime that the market ends up breaking out of a position, it will typically retest. And currently, right now, we're going through that retest phase. We're seeing a little bit of consolidation within this overall 2 hour. And if we go back to what's happening with the weekly and the daily perspective, the weekly showing that the market is bearish. If we take a look at what's happening with the daily showing that the market is bullish. And the only reason why the market is showing bullish signs is personally because it's retesting this overall consolidation or this long-term consolidation that's been happening since November. Okay, so just keep that in mind as the market is kind of rolling through. And from a daily perspective, with the stochastic, it's barely out of the buy zone, and we're starting to see that it's pushing. We've basically had about 6 or 7 days of retracement from this movement. I do expect that there's going to be downside movement, but we got to find the right price and the right time to be able to get in. Maybe this counter trend line break that is happening right now might be it. As long as it breaks below $70 a barrel, then I may look to continue to be able to sell. But oil's it hasn't been one of those pairs that you've been making a lot of money off of. It's just you got to be a little bit more patient overall when it comes down to that. So I'm going to just wait and see how the market kind of reacts more than anything else before kind of jumping in. Let's take a look at what's happening with gold. Let's see. When it comes down to gold, basically the market moved the way that we kind of expected it. Look for a counter trend line break. We got a counter trend line break. Remember, I said that I expected that the United States dollar was going to show signs of weakness today, and that's exactly yesterday, and that's exactly what ended up happening. We had a counter trend line break. I do expect that the market will keep on going up to $2,000 an ounce, and pushing up toward that 2050 area before trying to get up to 2171 for its overall movement. This is the long-term consolidation that we have been looking at inside of this box that has been going on since early 2019. But the highs end up getting hit in February, and right when the Russian-Ukraine war actually ended up starting before, and the market starting to push up. So clearly the market is bullish. From a daily perspective, we missed, if you end up missing that overall opportunity to be able to get in when the market was at the 618, then essentially you end up missing the market going from 17 or basically from 1800 to 1979, or basically, no, the market ended up hitting 2000 when it came down to that place. So you missed it from 1800 to 2000, which is 200 points of overall movement. The thing is, we just got to be a little bit patient. CMG, Block, what's going on? Block, how you doing? Hope everything's going well. How's the travels? Well, I hope everything's going well with you. Hey man, I put it to you like this: it's been one of those times to where I had to kind of take a step back and kind of get a little bit of rest, and now I'm finally at a point to where I feel kind of okay with being able to do this like day after day again. Um, but I don't know. I don't want to slack too much if that makes sense. So we back at it when it comes down to that. But market is in an R3 position when it comes down to the daily. We talked about being in push zones before. Anytime that the market is in a push zone, then that means that we're going to end up having more one-sided trading to the upside. We're not there as of yet when it comes down to we're not there as of yet when it comes down to this movement because the D extension's at 2053. But I do expect that we're going to end up seeing we will see more push to the upside as the extension from this movement is right here. I'm going to place an arrow on this movement. It's going to end up being right there, which is basically the highs of the previous movements that end up happening before. So I do expect that if we look at where this D extension is and where that take profit was, and where this market took profit and basically retraced, I do expect that it's going to go back there. Hash, what's going on? Hope everything's going well with you. Let's take a look at what's happening with Bitcoin. Speaking of Bitcoin, um, obviously block. I'm pretty sure you're probably very happy about what's been going on. I just want to know if this market ends up hitting 29. Did we get up to 29? We got very close. Got very close. Okay. Um, so what happened yesterday? We're basically inside of a little bit of consolidation. Yeah, and March is not typically the best month to be able to take off, but it was. I ended up getting back. I think I ended up getting my wits back in me when it came down to February. February was not. I didn't lose anything in February, but I ended up. I didn't lose anything in February, but I didn't make anything in February, which was probably the most frustrating thing. It's one of those things to where you make some at the beginning of the month, you lose some at the end of the month, and then after that, you kind of fight and struggle to get back up to be at break even, and that's exactly what ended up happening. Let's see. This did my trade, my day trade, two positive, one negative. There we go. As long as um, your risk reward factor was good on the two positive and it outweighs the one negative, then that's great. There you go. Uh, Now I want to listen to you and other people to get who got more info. There we go. Nice. I'm here Monday through Thursday. Um, don't do Fridays. Haven't done Fridays in a while anymore. Um, but definitely Monday through Thursday. So Bitcoin, what ended up happening? News ended up coming out with the FOMC. Actually, ended up being good news for the United States dollar initially at the beginning. We ended up having this large push to the downside from the high of 28,820. Basically, if you want to say that, it fell all the way down to 26,034, and then after that started to pop back up. Now, what that actually ended up doing, instead of just having a large pop, it just basically defined the consolidation range that the next movement is going to end up being in. So I'm going to end up treating that more seriously when it comes down to that movement and expecting that obviously that 28,000 is going to end up being the top. If we want to be a little bit more aggressive when it comes down to this movement, we can end up saying right around what is this high right here. We can end up saying 28,450 is probably the best high to be able to work off of. But we had to go from there. Just got back from Dubai. There we go. Another one of those places that I have to get my passport to be able to go to. I still don't have my passport yet. Waiting on it, but we'll get it. I'm trying to figure out where we're going to go to first, but I definitely want to be able to go. So Bitcoin right now, it's in a waiting holding pattern. Want to see how that happens. Want to see what happens with that. Want to see what happened with Ethereum as well. Because I said that I like the Ethereum trade better than what happened with Bitcoin. And my thought process is kind of like what I ended up drawing right here. I wanted to be able to catch it. Wanted to be able to catch it at the low price or the support and see if this market was going to bounce back up. I think that we may get a better chance of being able to pop in this trade as well. But the low was at 1711. I was talking about getting in right here, right around these little purple dots. Um, I personally did not take this trade either, unfortunately, but um, I was somewhat right on this one. I'm gonna wait. I'm too stacked in. If I'm probably between all of them, I'm probably more stacked in on Ethereum than anything else. So I have entries already at this price. I just kind of wait up and see if we can be able to get a lower one. Um, do you have a gold chart too to show some info? Yes, we talked about gold already, but I talk about it again. Gold is on its way up to 2,000 again. I think that it's going to end up getting up to 2,053 which will end up being basically the overall resistance. It's done hit that resistance three times in the last 2 years, um, which is well, two times in the last 2 years, which is right here, right there, and currently right now we're pushing back up. There's a D extension that's expected to go up to 2053. Currently, right now, the market, um, from a weekly perspective, is considered to be bullish. From a daily perspective, we do have a counter trend line break today, which is showing signs of being able to say we can get in on buy trades. The question is, should we get in right now? The honest answer right now would be no, solely because the 2 hours in the sell zone. And because 2 hours in the sell zone, I will wait about a half of a day to see how the market kind of reacts today, and then after they go out for movement. So I do expect something like this. As long as the market ends up holding these lows right here and gives us a fractal high, or gives us a fractal low to be able to go off again, then after that I'll look at a counter trend line break and look at an entry right there, right when it happens. Will it hit 2,000 a day? I never sit up there and proclaim to know where it's going to end up hitting throughout the overall day. I just know where it's going to end up going. The market does what it wants, when it wants, and how it wants. I've learned that. I learned that discovery a very long time ago. You can be 8 points away from your profit, and if you don't take profit, it can flush all the way down, take you right back out, and then pop right back up to your D extension, with you instead of holding a bag of money, holding a bag of tears when it comes down to that. So I don't proclaim to know how fast it's going to hit there, but I just know just overall, I do expect that it's going to keep on moving. I leave for 1 month, and the bank started failing. Got to catch up on so much. Yeah. Remember, like I ended up saying before, well, he got it up to 5%. Everything's up at 5% now. So let's talk about US 30. US 30, if I remember correctly when I ended up saying it, I was looking for a pocket buy, um, and did not get the buy trade that I actually wanted. Remember, United States dollar ended up United States dollar actually ended up being bullish. Because it ended up being bullish, then that means that indexes would end up being bearish. Um, and because of that, that actually ended up pushing the market back inside of consolidation. So, kind of give it a long, I'm going to give a quick backstory and kind of go from there. Um, Dow Jones has been inside of consolidation since November of last year. We've been inside of this large box, and which I'm going to shorten down a little bit so everybody can be able to see. It's been inside of this large box of consolidation. It's been there for at this point, almost 6 months of overall movement. Uh, the last time that we ended up taking a major trade was when the market was inside of that blue box and ended up falling to the downside. We ended up taking two sales right around 33,500, and took that all the way to 33,300, and then after that took it all the way down to 32,550. So it was a 1,000 point move based off of that. Market popped back up, and then after that broke to the downside. We ended up taking another trade from that low of consolidation of 32,524, and sold it all the way down to basically where that purple line was, which was at 31,530. So swing trading allowed you to be able to um, hello there. Did you cover Nas 100 yet? No, we're gonna take a look at it tomorrow. Take a look at it next. Um, but in light of it being inside of this consolidation, it popped up to the upside. I still expected that the market was going to fall. Well, I still do expect that the market is going to fall, and my expectation is that it's going to fall down to this overall level right here, which is right around 30,750. Um, Going back to what I ended up saying before, how long do I think it's going to get there? I don't know. That's not for me to decide. I just place in pending orders right when the market ends up creating this overall spot self-support resistance, and then after that, I just know where it's going to go based off of volume profile, or I have a good idea where it's going to go based off of volume profile. So currently, right now, we're back inside of this consolidation. Because we're back inside of this consolidation, there's really no trade to be able to take. There's a 33% chance of being able to win right now. on this movement, and I don't like 33%. I rather like 70% or 80% or 90% probability of success on being able to win in this trade. We don't have that right now. And because of that, I'm going to stay away on Dow Jones, at least for the morning. Nas 100. Nas 100 ended up making a big pop to the upside last week. It actually ended up making a move first. And because of that move going first, it actually ended up being a leading indicator of me understanding that US 30 was going to pop up to the upside like it did on Monday. Now, with that being said, let's go back to where we are currently and kind of give a better idea about what's happening off of this movement. Now, my charts are, what's the best way to say it? I've been using this chart, or I haven't updated this. Well, no, let me rephrase that again. I have updated this chart, but I've been updating this chart since the summertime. So if you see a lot of markings and all other stuff, please just understand that's what it's for. I got to do a little bit of cleanup going into the upcoming weeks. Now, so at the beginning of the year, the market ended up falling all the way down to support at 10,730. Typically, it makes a move down there, and then after that, you have an upside movement to the upside. What's going on, big dog? Caught me off guard. The market is going through this new wave of Fibonacci's where the 618 was at 11,820, and currently right now we're popping to go back up to the upside where there will be a de-extension expected to be at 13,940. Now, that's long-term movement. If we look at this from a daily perspective, we see that we're in a sell zone, and based off of the movement that ended up happening yesterday, yeah, we did pop up outside of this consolidation, getting all the way up to 12,960, but quickly ended up getting U-turn when it came down to this movement. Currently, right now, if I'm looking at it, this could be the start of a new consolidation where the resistance will end up being basically from this box right here that I'm getting ready to highlight and change it to a different color, then change that to blue. That could end up being basically the resistance price, and down here will actually end up being a support price. I'm going to make that like a dark red. So my eyes would be on how this market is going to end up reacting today. Is it going to end up falling today? If it falls today, then I do expect that if it breaks below this natural support that ended up happening a little bit earlier from that consolidation, then it will fall all the way through to the bottom. Okay, so remember, if it breaks the support, it's going to go to another support. Doesn't that rule has always held firm. So if it does break to support, I do expect that it's going to fall down to this purple line that I'm creating. If it falls down and basically retests this overall support and then starts to push back up, then we have long-term bullish movement that I do expect that's going to end up happening. Then after that, it's going to be very simple to be able to buy. But currently right now, what I will end up saying is that this is a waiting pattern. Same thing with what's happening with US 30. Want to wait and see how the market kind of reacts today. Don't want to jump in at 630 to make a move. Keep your eyes on Ethereum. In the next 2 hours, there's a $3.7 billion airdrop that's about to happen. Well, I've been looking at being able to buy. Let's see. I see that money's about to flow all in crypto at once. Block, in your experience, does that give an influx and a push up in the market, or does that kind of make it devalue itself? Is it a short-term devaluation, or is it more of a long-term push to the upside? Pick that up. See, while he answers that question, what I want to be able to do is thank everybody for being here to pop in. If I end up providing any value for you, please make sure that you click on that boost button. Obviously, the boost button allows me to be able to get this out to more people. Short-term push. And as that's going on, we're getting very close getting very close to 1,000 subs when it comes down to what's happening with the Trading View page. You're getting very close to 1,000 subs when it comes down to the YouTube page on Expert Advisor Reviews, where we review other EAs and kind of goes from there. Uh, Usually falls into altcoins. Yeah, I think anytime that you end up having that much of an influx of an airdrop and everything else like that, it's going to devaluate it first before actually pushing it back up. Um, from a um, Make sure I end up saying this first before I get out of here. From a automation standpoint, you got three systems running. Uh, Currently, right now, I think overall, I think they're doing very well. Let's see. Um, Boss Band is up 300 today. Uh, the Waka Waka currently right now is up $200 in the last 2 days, and the Golden Pickaxe is up. Golden Pickaxe is up another 175. So kind of happy when it comes down to that. But like always, we'll see how everything kind of plays out. I'm gonna go ahead and bid y'all adieu. We'll talk again on Monday. Once again, thanks for being able to pop in. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for being able to stay in. Block, always good being able to talk to you. Everybody else that ends up jumping inside of the chat, always good being able to talk to y'all as well. Let's do it again on Monday. Like always, make sure that you end up planning your trade your plan. I'll see each and every one of y'all in the next video. Take it easy.